Hello and welcome to Women Engage Program Season 5. In this program, we bring real women from all walks of life to talk about real issues affecting the contemporary woman. In case you're watching us for the first time, feel free to go back and watch our previous videos in our various social media platforms. Today, I have two beautiful ladies to talk about work-life balance. The question today is, how can a woman balance family and work responsibilities? Before we go into the discussion today, I'm going to ask them introduce themselves. I will begin with the lady seated directly opposite me.
Okay, thank you, my sister. My name is Rita Ochere Kenyanya. I am divorced 5 years now, and I'm a mother of 3 daughters, 27, 16, and 14. Previously, I've been in road construction, and now I'm a baker.
Wow, fantastic.
Yes. And thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here today. My name is Stella Osano. I am married. It will be 20 years this November. I have 2 children, 2 boys, 12, and the other one this week, no, actually last week, turned 10. So thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
Oh, great. And for those who are watching us for the first time, Rose Misati is my name. I am married with 4 children, and I work in the county government of Nairobi. I do many things. I'm a pharmacist, public health specialist. I'm also a coach. I'm a counselor as well. Thank you so much. So today we will talk about family and work responsibilities. We are increasingly seeing lots of women getting into the workspace, working away from home. So the women are contributing economically to the family and also to nation building. And yet they are expected to take care of the family, the nurture, the emotional work. What is interesting is that even as women have taken over economic responsibilities more, the work of nurture, the emotional work of the family has not, the load hasn't been taken away from these women. So you will find the work, the woman is putting in the work hours, the 8 hours a day or the 40 hours a week or even more. And when they come home, they still have to put in the work. And this leads to burnout, stress, and the women being overwhelmed. So today we want to look at, is it really possible for a woman to strike a work-life balance, given all these responsibilities that expectations on her? And I'm going to ask you, Stella, work-life balance, is it even possible?
That's a very good question. It's interesting, work-life balance. Sometimes I look at my own life and wonder, am I balancing? Is my work-life balance, in place? I think the answer depends on what season you are in life. I think there are some times you have to think of it like as a mother. When you are maybe a new mother, you might be required to have more time with your children, especially if you're pregnant and you have a breastfeeding baby. You may be required to have more time with your family instead of at work. You may, we're discussing this earlier, that you may not take up job responsibilities that require you to travel maybe out of the country or even away from home for a longer period of time because of the time in which you are in. But if you have children who are high school and above, who can essentially take care of themselves, then that changes, that maybe this time you can progress in your career and you can even take on responsibilities that require you to maybe be away from home for a week or so. So I think it depends on where you are at life. I can't say it's a one-size-fits-all kind of thing.
So it's the season of life. That's critically important. Now then, is there a formula? Rita, is there an ultimate formula then how to strike a balance given the seasons of life that women go through?
I think you learn about the seasons after, or you learn the formula after. We make a lot of trial and error. Why do I say that? My sister is attributed to, if you have younger kids, first of all, between my first and second is 10 years.
10 years difference?
Yes, because of work, I miscarried and I had a stillbirth. I lost 2 boys.
Yeah.
So that time I got into depression because, you know, you're still raising, and then I got 2 girls, you know, in quick succession. But I think now to fast forward and think back, that's where my crack started in the marriage, because the man didn't understand why was I still grieving, okay? So, however, my job took me far and wide. My last girl, I took her to boarding school in class 4. She's now a Form 2 in Alliance Girls.
Yeah.
So God covers it for you. He teaches you how you should have balanced if you had known this or that. However, I also had to get a strong house help because I was hardly home for my children. But you have to find a way to micromanage. As you say, you learn as you go, but then again, you find what works for you. It wasn't my intention to do boarding school, but I had no choice. In fact, my daughter once told me, Mom, I thought you didn't love us. Now that she has understood what it is that she has grown, is when she has understood, okay, there was a reason why Mom did this.
So depending on where you are, you get what works for you. And I think that's critically important. And then you've said that you don't have it figured together, but you learn along the way. Then you have talked about delegation. You got a strong house help, and she was able, you know, to take over some of the responsibilities. Even the stress of, now has food been cooked at the right time? You know, when you know it will be done, it will be ready. Yeah, that's critically important. Anything else, Stella? Maybe can you think of anything
speaking
else?
of delegation, I think it's important. It's very important for us to be able to have that balance. Because I'm thinking also about even our children learning to do the basic things, like, you know, making breakfast for themselves, so that I don't have to wake up every day to make for them breakfast. They can do that. You know, do things according to your age. So that's where the delegation comes in. You know, like I was giving an example of I'll give an example of myself. I like things in a certain order. But I have learned that in order for me not to burn out, it's okay to let some things go as long as nobody's dying. I like my beds very, you know, well made and neat and all that. But
Were
if
you in boarding primary school?
Yes, no, secondary. Secondary, and it was a military school, so you can imagine.
I get where you're coming from.
In delegating, I have learned that they don't have to do exactly like me, as long as it's done. You know, and I don't have to kill myself, because when I don't delegate, then I end up doing everything, and by evening I'm so angry, I'm tired, so that balance is not there. So delegation is very important.
And when you are angry and tired, you are not even actually you pass that anger to the children, and you're not even emotionally available, so to speak, when you're angry and tired and overwhelmed, and it's not even good for you. And what about, I'm also thinking about using equipment, machines that make our work easier. You know, you don't have to be tired as a woman. You know, many times we think that for us to have a medal, the ultimate prize, you must be dog tired. Until you're just going to bed, you can't turn. That is when we think that we are good mothers. So if you can get the gadgets that make your work easier.
Especially the laundry.
Especially. I just said that in a previous episode, that is one of the best inventions in my view. Washing machine, please. Get a good size of a fridge if you have, so that you don't have to go to the market every day. You know, somebody told us one time that her husband has to eat vegetables bought from the market fresh, like every day. Like he can't eat frozen food. Can't. And she's working. So from work, she has to rush to the market, cook the vegetables and cook ugali. And you know, again, that brings us to the point of delegation. That even in the man, for those who are in marriages, let him be a real partner, whereby he can also support. Because if you're both going out and working to provide for the family, then also, at least, even if it's not 50-50, the responsibilities at home need to be shared in a way to make it easier.
Very true.
Speaking
of conveniences, you know, I thought about it. I think it's more of us Africans who sometimes want to kill ourselves with work to look like I am a woman who has it all, really. Because what's wrong with having your clothes washed in a washing machine? I know there's somebody who said, the husband said, you have to touch. You know, the machine does not know how to clean well. Then why was it made? You know, it was to make work easier. Get a blender, get a, whatever makes your work easier. Vacuum cleaner, you don't have to, sweep the carpet. And nowadays I see there are those which are robotic that you just set. Even when you're at work,
I'm going to
it will do the vacuuming. It will do the vacuuming for you. Even me, I'm saving towards that, because you can set it, and by the time you come home, the house is clean. Wow. We don't have to kill ourselves in the name of being woman enough.
Yeah, and then if there are men listening to us, I think that's important. Yeah. Because there are men who also say you have to be the one to iron my clothes. Okay, if the woman is at home and this is her responsibility, then the man is out working, that may make sense. But if both are leaving to go and put in the hours and come back, then maybe he's reading the newspaper and she's ironing the clothes and cooking, and that she has to be the one cooking his food and serving it the way he likes, I think that's not fair. And did you also know that I was listening to a podcast and I was learning that 80% of those who suffer from autoimmune conditions, these are conditions where, so to speak, the body fights against itself. Yes. Mostly they are women. Yes. And one of the leading causes are negative conditions. Dr. Gabo Mate talks a lot about this. You can check him online. He talks a lot about it, that women have learned to repress healthy anger. Because when you're being overwhelmed, you get angry, like, why do I have to do this? But then you will find that when you are getting angry, you are condemned. And it's like you're guilted. You're made to feel guilty. What kind of mother are you? What kind of wife are you? Then so you repress, you suppress. You want to say something?
Yes, that was me for 20 years. I was married for 21 years and I stepped out because it was too much for me. This is a story for another day. He started philandering because now I discovered myself and I went back to church. I was married outside the faith, unfortunately. Well, fortunately. But when you realize that you're in a situation with a partner who is, first of all, not God-given, and then secondly, doesn't appreciate you, really, you're suffering staying in that place. I don't advocate for that. But the abuse is not just physical. It can be emotional too. I was getting sick all the time. I was always in tears. I'm angry at my children left, right, and center. I was not being a good example for them. So yes, there's a point at which you say, this is it.
And Rita, that brings me to our next point. You said you were sick all the time. That's very familiar because I coach women and I've been privileged to coach thousands of women across the world. And a lot of women are sick, So let's talk about now in terms of priority. What should a woman prioritize?
You talked about women are getting sick. I think it's time that as women we took good care of ourselves. Yes. We were brought up, knowing that we are brought up to take care of others. Rarely, if I look back, really was I taught how to take care of myself. It's how to be a good wife, how to be a good mother. But how can I be a good wife if I am unhealthy? If I am not taking good care of myself? Mentally, am I in a mental space that I'm healthy enough to take care of my husband or my children? So I think the priority for us as women, I am learning lately, is that I need to be healthy. I need to be healthy physically, I need to be healthy spiritually, and I need to be healthy mentally more than anything else, so that I'm able to give of what I have. Because if I am not, then definitely I'll give of the unhealthiness, if there's such an English word, to everyone else around me.
And Stella, when you are saying that, my default answer to that question when I thought about it was, women need to prioritize taking care of the family. That's what was going through my mind. But then when you are saying that, I'm like, yeah, because who is this taking care of the family? She needs to be well without feeling guilty. But I feel so guilty.
Yes.
I feel so
because
guilty.
it's what was drummed in our heads, that we put others first.
How much time can you give to taking care of yourself? Say you want to go to the salon, you want to go to the spa, you want to take a break when you feel that you're really exhausted. Because at the end of the day, when you're lying in bed, it's also hurting the children. Even the husband will also feel that emptiness.
It hurts
self-care.
Self-care. Yes. Imagine, let me tell you something funny. Whenever I drive home and maybe there's something I need to catch up, I stay in the car. I park the car and I stay for like an hour. Now, that's not even the end of the story. I have to explain. So I will call my husband or my kids and tell them, guys, I'm in the car, I'll come back. You know why I'm explaining? Because if they see the car parked and mommy is not in the house, it's like I have a case to answer. Where were you? Like, how could you be in the car and we are like I have to explain why I'm sitting in the car, you know. So that sort of guilt because of the way we're cultured. And yet I know if I sit, I breathe in and out, maybe I pray, I read a bit, I relax. When I go home, I'm a better mother who is better prepared to take care of the people who are depending on me. Think literally how you carry a baby. Give birth, breastfeed that baby. Your life is literally in that baby. Of course, it's God who gives life. But now think about all, if you're carrying negative emotions, you are literally transferring them to the children and to the next generation.
Which is true.
So really.
I tried just an illustration. The other day, I was feeling so upset in the evening, you know. I usually wake up very early, so by evening I'm tired. So don't cross my path, you know, I'll get annoyed. Then I stopped myself. I said, you know, you are making everybody's mood in this house to be sad. So if I don't take care of myself, everyone else suffers. Actually, and even the Bible says, you love others as you love yourself.
You must have a self.
You must have love the self first, because how do you know how to love somebody else if you don't know how to love yourself? So self has to come first, and it's not in a selfish way. It is loving God, loving yourself, and then pouring that love to other people.
Oh, wow.
And I know that's going to be very controversial to many people, but the Bible says, love others as you love yourself.
You are self. Some of us don't even have a self, first of all. So let's give ourselves space and time and patience and compassion to grow. So that over time, then we can have it, but not all at the same time. I think that's critically important.
It's because, I was going to add that you talked about contentment, and I think that's something that we need to learn, most of us, to be content with where we are. It doesn't mean that we don't have ambitions of where we want to be or what we want to do, but while I am living this life now, let me be content. And the enemy to contentment is usually comparisons. As you said, you are at home with children and you're wishing you could be flying out and doing all those things. It's because you're comparing yourself with so and so. So if I am content with where I am, then I know at a certain place I'll be elsewhere. So, and when I am not content, I don't live the life for now. I keep wishing for what is ahead. And then when I am at that place, I look back and say, I wish I had enjoyed my children when they were younger. You know, the cuddles and all that. Right now, they see me, they slam their doors.
And they disappear.
So be content with whatever, you know, stage you are in life, and stop comparing yourself with others. You are not others, you are you. So
exactly.
Live your life.
You were created to fill a particular space in this world that, you know, like the way there's an author called John Mason. He says, you were created an original, do not die a copy. And he says, if I'm trying to be Stella, the best position I can be is number 2. But if I'm trying to be Rose, I will be number 1 because there's no other Rose. And you just brought to my mind when you say that a time when I had a good job and I had good money, but I was so unfulfilled. Like I was so unfulfilled in the job. What did I do? I used to go to work. When I'm coming, I buy clothes. I buy handbags. I buy things, you know, just to make me feel good. Then I have the high at that point. The following day again, I go to work, I'm deflated. So I go buying many things. So the other day when I was moving houses, I gave out, the things could not get finished. The house I left is full and where I'm staying is full because of the things I bought, but they were not making me fulfilled. It's because I just kept on feeling the money was there, but I wasn't fulfilled because I was not feeling like I'm making an impact. But now, right now, I'm in a space where I'm making the impact, and when I'm driving off, I don't even look at those clothes. I have clothes, but I mean, I have enough. I feel content in this season of my life. So
maybe
let's talk. Yes, please add.
I think for me now, that contentment and lessons learned, I am finding myself in a space where I'm able to empower someone else, maybe a young couple coming up or a young girl who is courting, and just to share my life story with them or to give them tidbits of what they can do that I wish I knew then how to do. Maybe you can call me a counselor of sorts. I've never taken counseling course, but I'm feeling like I want to do something, and I'm already doing it, that I wish then, even if, God forbid, I'm not here, someone can tell my daughter.
Exactly.
So that she doesn't have to walk the same painful path that I walked.
That you have walked.
Yes.
So you have picked lessons from your painful story.
Oh, yes.
That's important, by the way. A counselor doesn't even have to be trained, you know. You need, from your own experience, you're sharing from your own experience, and you're sharing counsel, you know. It's counsel, you're giving counsel, a multitude of counselors, you know. That's critically important. Now, let's talk about families. How can families support women who are working away from home? Because we are saying the women are working at home, they are expected to still meet the emotional needs of the family, yet when they go out, they are still expected to perform the economic responsibilities. That's heavy. That's heavy. Even when it's home already, it's heavy. But now add the one outside, it's very heavy. How can families, even societies, actually even the church, you know, even those who are watching us today, how can they support that women who are working in this manner? Stella, would you like to weigh in on this?
Yeah, I think the most important support they can get, first of all, is from the family. The family itself, the husband and the children, understanding that, you know, we are all in this together. We are partners. No one person should be carrying a heavier load than the other person. We are here to help each other. So as children, you take your responsibilities seriously. If you can wash dishes, wash the dishes. If you can wash your clothes, please go ahead. Don't wait for mommy to come from work when she's tired. That's when she's washing. And also empowering. As working mothers, we need to empower the people, our children, the people we speak with, we live with. We need to empower them so that they're able to offer this support when we are not there, so that we don't feel like the whole world is on our shoulders.
Ellen G. White puts it so beautifully, to carry their share of life's burdens, so that it's not one person carrying the share of everybody else of life's burdens. Is there anything you would like to add, Rita, in terms of how can the family support?
Well, I guess, like, I concur with what my sister Stella said. I had to train my children at some point. Now they're teenagers. I don't go to the kitchen unless it's absolutely necessary. Not because I don't want to, but if I keep doing it, they will never learn. Hata mtu akipika ugali mbaya, we will eat it the way it is, you know. And we will encourage this person, like, hey, today you tried, tomorrow. So you find that they are even competing. They have their own schedule of who will do this, who will do that, who will do the other. The only person who doesn't work is the person who is the candidate that year. Candidate, I mean, maybe a Form 4 and a Class 8. Like now I have a Form. Because they're preparing for the examinations. Yes, that is the person who is exempted from that year, going to the kitchen or mopping the house or whatever. But everybody else knows that, you know, from the moment they step back into the house, they'll rest the first day, but the second day, the chores are on and whatever else. And then we always talk together. So they understand, where am I coming from? Why am I not doing things maybe the way I used to do? Even if it's not just getting together to have family prayer time and all, but we talk a lot. And I'm actually enjoying my children now more than I did, because we are opening up to each other. I am living with young ladies now. So it's a mighty joyful journey. Especially when I involve them.
That part
we
of
plan
talking.
Everything into the last cent. Yes.
That part of talking. And you know, the children grow up with a high self-esteem, healthy, let me call it healthy self-esteem, because they have been empowered to make decisions, to work with their hands, so that they will not rely on somebody else to take care of them. So the talking part is extremely important. Like yesterday, when I was hosting this, I went home. I'm the one who talks the most in my family. But then my husband knew that because I've talked the whole day, I've exhausted my all the words. My 2,500 or 25,000 words a lady speaks. So he just told me, you know what, go to bed. I can do devotion with our son. He said, no, make sure you sleep early. So I went to bed, I slept early, he did the devotion with the child, and I had to wake up early in the morning. So he was up and he was saying, I need to get him ready to go to school, because you need to get ready and go. Because he knew I'm coming to put in a lot of work, you know, and I'm going to be talking throughout the day. So it really goes a long way when the families can take and know that the other person is a human being.
True.
Everybody is flesh and blood. Nobody is running on electricity. You know, everybody is running on flesh and blood. The same way you get tired, somebody else gets tired. And really the golden rule, do unto others as you would done unto you. Yeah, thank you, ladies. And before we end, I would like you to say a word. What would you like to say? Maybe to a woman watching us today and feeling like, oh, I don't even know, my work-life balance is off, you know, or maybe I desire something that I don't have. Maybe there's a man watching us. Maybe there are family members watching us. What would you like to tell them? How can they support women in terms of home life and economic responsibilities? Stella, what would you like to say?
What I'd like to say is, first of all, prioritize. Think of what is the most important thing. I think of the analogy of a jar, and you have big rocks, and you have pebbles, and you have sand that you need to fill in. You start with the big things. What is your non-negotiables in life? Your relationship with God, your health, your family. Put those first. The big things first, then the others will come and fall in properly. So prioritize, 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 and then delegate.
That's a good one. Prioritize, prioritize, delegate. Rita, what would you like to say?
I think for me is to accept the season that you are in.
Accept the season.
If you don't accept it, I will always be living like what Sister Rose wants or has. I will never be content, like you said. I will not be happy in the season. In fact, I wouldn't even realize I'm in a particular season.
That's true.
Because I will always be desiring what, you know, my other sisters have. But once you're in whatever season, just accept this is my, and then do the very best that you can. And like I said also, you can empower someone else, be it your own child, or be it a neighbor or someone else in church, go right ahead and do it.
Great, great. That's fantastic. And for me, I listened to somebody saying something that echoed what I have been thinking all along, but I didn't have the language for it. The person said the most important thing in his life is his health and relationship with God. You know, they go together. Physical, spiritual, emotional health. So health, relationship with God, number one. Number two, his purpose, his calling, because he knows he was put in this world for something. Number three, it's now family relationships. And he said something very bold. If any relationship, even if it's with the family, is coming in the way, probably that relationship needs to go. I said, that's interesting. But when I thought about it, it made sense, because you will not be there. I mean, if you don't take care of yourself, then what can you can't even love the people the way you should love them. If your relationship with God is not in order, you cannot. I said it makes sense, and I said, now this is what I've been wanting to say all along. Order your life in terms of your priorities. And I can say my parting shot is grow where you're planted so that you can be transplanted. Grow where you're planted so that you can be transplanted. Otherwise, if you don't grow there, you cannot be transplanted elsewhere. So wherever you find yourself, whatever season you are in, thrive and grow. Then when the next season comes, you can be transplanted to another place. Thank you so much for watching us today. See you next time.